Thank you, President Hall. Welcome, Prime Minister and Minister Beach. Aichquil siyam na siyayu, antha kot siyamat, tanitsan layatsan, haitsapka. So I said, good day, respected visitors, President Hall, and each and every one of you. Thank you so much for being here today. My name is Kot Siyamat. My English name is Rabina Thomas, and I'm a member of Layatsan First Nation. As President Hall noted, investing in research is a social and economic driver that delivers immense and lasting benefits that I, as a researcher for 25 years, have experienced firsthand. As a university, we must practice Sitsawadal Sep, to work together and to partners across campus and across the community to achieve the goals that we want to achieve in this rapidly changing community. Over the years, my research has focused on Indigenous women and children, most recently focusing on the importance of water and water teachings to coastal Indigenous youth and communities. Like ASAT, relationships and partnerships are key to our success. Projects like this allow us to focus on being in right relationships with each other, a tol nuel. It is essential that we undertake our work together and that we approach both our Indigenous and non-Indigenous colleagues and partners to be careful and thoughtful and creative in all the work that we do. And this will help prepare us for the generations to come. At UVic, it's a part of the pledge that we make on how we want to be as a community. For the ASAP project, UVic is proud to be joined by many Indigenous communities and partners, as well as Royal Roads University, the Université de Québec à Trois-Rivières, the University of British Columbia, and Yukon University, as well as regional, national, and international partners, both in the academy and government and industry. Working together, we'll bring our good hearts and our good minds to all the work that we do. By creating strong and lasting relationships and partnerships, UVic and its partners will help individual communities chart their own paths to clean energy. Relationships are built on trust, and it's crucial that we spend the time to build trust so that we can work together and create a cleaner future for us all. Here at UVic, I'm proud to be a part of an institution that's partnering for a shared future. Quinana Stall is a teaching that reminds us that we need to work together to help move each other forward. I want to thank the Government of Canada for its leadership and investment in students and research, and for Quinana Stall to help us move each other forward. I would like to now turn it over to Honourable Terry Beach, Canada's Minister of Citizen Services, to say a few words. Haitsapka, thank you all.
Hello everyone, bonjour à tous, c'est un grand plaisir d'être ici avec vous ce matin. It is great to be back on Vancouver Island. I was born in Comox and raised in Victoria and Nanaimo, and actually just lived a few blocks from here. I was driving by my way here and actually saw the old Mr. Mike's where I used to wash dishes has been knocked down, unfortunately, but to build more housing, which is a good thing for everybody. And I actually used to do split shifts at the Victorian retirement home a few blocks from here. So it's bringing back a lot of memories. Not just because I used to live here, but because this is where I started my political career. I was first, and it makes me a little scared to say it this way, but I actually was first elected 25 years ago in Nanaimo as a municipal city councillor. But when I first started in federal politics, the gentleman that I'm about to introduce actually asked me to be the Parliamentary Secretary for Science, which definitely speaks to what we're here for today. And I had an opportunity to work with institutions like the University of Victoria and some of our youngest and smartest minds from across the country to really see the impact of what happens when you invest in research. This is about, the announcement today, is about investing in the future of our country and in future generations. We had a chance to do a little tour before we started this announcement here today, and just so many great technologies solving problems that wouldn't be solved without investments like the ones we're making today. Everybody knows that we've invested significantly in electric vehicles. You can drive your electric vehicle from Vancouver Island to Prince Edward Island. You couldn't do that 8 years ago. But what are you going to do with all of those batteries? Well, there's companies here that are actually creating technologies that are, instead of those batteries simply being disposed of, they're actually finding a new use for that and creating a new market. You could imagine a future where you could actually sell your used electric vehicle battery so you can recover some of the costs and get a replacement. But that is a small example of what is a substantial announcement today, and I want to introduce the person that's going to make that announcement. So please join me in giving a very warm welcome to our Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Justin Trudeau.
Thank you, Terry, for that introduction. Thanks for all your hard work as Minister of Citizen Services. It's great to see you. It's great to hear about your BC and Vancouver Island roots. I love coming back to BC. It's a second home to me, has been all my life. I got my professional start. I studied out here, and I got my professional start as a teacher here. So being back in BC is always a real delight for me. Before I even recognize Kevin and Ravina, I do want to recognize the students here. Our focus today is on making sure we're supporting them as researchers and scientists, but our focus in this budget is also on supporting them as they make their path through this challenging economy, understanding that the deck seems stacked against you right now in terms of how much you're paying on rent, how far off the dream of maybe owning a home one day might be. These are the things that we're focused on changing in this budget. We need to be investing in fairness, but part of investing in fairness and investing in that better future is making sure we're supporting the growth and the innovation that's going to lead to that. And that's why I'm so glad to be here at the University of Victoria. I want to thank Dr. Hall and Dr. Thomas for welcoming us here. This is a place that is consistently ranked in the top tier of Canada's research-intensive universities. I'm really happy to be here to talk about what we're doing to support our researchers and our scientists and grow our economy in ways that works for these young researchers and scientists behind me. This is what we did this week when we released our budget. We shared our plan to create fairness for every generation, especially millennials and Gen Z. Over the past few weeks, we've already talked about measures to build more homes faster and make measures to make life more affordable. We've also talked about our investments in technology and AI that will create good-paying jobs for Canadians and growth for our economy. Mais un des piliers importants de notre plan pour bâtir une économie plus équitable pour chaque génération, c'est de créer des bons emplois payants. Et pour ça, il faut s'assurer que le Canada puisse innover. We need to support problem solvers, innovators, and researchers. That's why Budget 2024 proposes historic measures that will strengthen Canadian research and innovation with investments of over $4.6 billion. Nos investissements vont inclure 2,6 milliards de dollars pour bonifier les bourses pour la recherche fondamentale et pour soutenir la prochaine génération de talents en matière de recherche, des talents que j'ai derrière moi aujourd'hui. Ces investissements vont conduire à des découvertes sans précédent qui vont favoriser la croissance économique, que ce soit dans le secteur de la santé, de l'énergie propre ou d'autres secteurs essentiels. We will foster the next generation of research talent by increasing the annual value of master's and doctoral student scholarships and postdoctoral fellowships, and by increasing the number of students and fellows benefiting from these scholarships. We need to attract, develop, and retain Canada's top research talent, and this is exactly what these measures will do. We'll also help the younger generations get a good, affordable education with an investment of $1.3 billion, which means that for an additional year, we'll be maintaining the increase we brought to Canada's student grants. We're also increasing the housing allowances used by the Canada Student Financial Assistance Program when determining financial need to provide additional student aid to approximately 79,000 students each year, which is particularly pertinent in areas where we know housing is particularly expensive, like Victoria. Now, we have some of the best scientists in the world here in Canada, and we're committed to getting them the best tools they need, which is why, as part of this research and innovation package, we'll grow our world-leading research infrastructure by investing $734 million more. For example, we'll be investing to upgrade the Triumph lab here in BC. Launched by UBC, SFU, and UVic, Triumph has been doing incredible work in physics research for over 50 years. En soutenant des laboratoires comme Triumph, on va aider des chercheurs canadiens à faire de nouvelles découvertes dans le domaine de la médecine, par exemple, pour trouver de nouveaux traitements contre le cancer ou des nouveaux médicaments. Et Triumph, c'est seulement un des exemples. Dans le budget, on soutient d'autres laboratoires et centres de recherche qui vont participer à des percées scientifiques qui vont aider à faire croître notre économie, comme le cyclotron à Saskatoon et le Snow Lab à Sudbury. Look, bottom line is this. We're a government that believes in science, and we're making the kinds of investments that will be key to unlocking immense economic potential. Now, the Conservative Party has already said they'll vote against this budget. Conservative politicians don't think we should be investing in science, in housing, in childcare. And they don't think we should be asking the wealthiest to pay a bit more. They think it's fair that a researcher or a student pays taxes on 100% of their income, where a multimillionaire only pays taxes on 50% of the passive income they make on capital gains. This budget is full of measures to support small businesses, entrepreneurs, and innovators. For business owners, we're making sure they'll be better off when they sell all or part of their business by increasing the lifetime capital gains exemption. For entrepreneurs, who are so often the drivers of innovation in Canada, we're bringing in a new Canadian Entrepreneurs Incentive, which lowers capital gains, which means you'll make more money off of the first $6 million you make when you sell your business. I encourage all parties in the House of Commons to support Budget 2024, our plan to create fairness for every generation. It's a plan to create good-paying jobs, to boost innovation and accelerate economic growth. It's a plan to meet this moment. Thank you all for being here today. I'm now happy to take your questions.
Thank you, Prime Minister. We'll now begin the question. First question goes to Global News.
Prime Minister Richard Zussman, Global BC. Because we have you in the province, a few things you have jurisdiction over here. There's been concerns being raised around decriminalization. There's a pilot in place. There are concerns raised about how it is working here. What are you looking for from a federal government standpoint in order to determine if it is working in British Columbia? And also, you're also have jurisdiction over, in essence, the future of policing in Surrey. There's concerns have been raised by the RCMP about the Surrey Police Service taking over jurisdiction there. I know there have been meetings happening, and whether the federal government would allow changes to legislation that would allow for the Surrey Police Service to be in charge of RCMP officers.
First of all, our government is taking a science-based, compassionate, and a rigorous approach to the opioid epidemic and the toxic drug supply challenges as a public health problem. And that means working with ongoing tragedy and heartbreak that's happening across the country because of the toxic drug supply. We worked with BC on a pilot project to create a framework to support the approach that we're doing right now. We've already adjusted and tweaked it and are working with BC on that, and we'll continue to work very, very closely with them on making sure that it's working right. There's been questions around reselling of drugs. Of course, reselling drugs is illegal, and we need to make sure that police have tools to go after that. But we're also going to make sure we're monitoring carefully to ensure that this project is working, that is keeping people safe, that is moving forward in a thoughtful, science-based approach that is grounded in compassion and treatment. And we're going to continue working thoughtfully with BC as they manage the way this program unfolds. In regards to the Surrey RCMP, the Minister of Public Safety, Dominic LeBlanc, is in close contact with Minister Farnworth, talking about what exactly needs to be done. We're there to support communities, particularly growing communities like Surrey, that need to keep their citizens safe. There's always an outreached hand from the federal government in terms of offering the support necessary as province and municipalities do what's necessary to keep people safe.
Thank you. Next question.
Hi, Graham Thompson. Normally I'm based in Edmonton. So I have a question today for you about the federal funding, universities, things like that, but in the context of Alberta. Last week, as you know, the Premier Smith brought in Bill 18, Provincial Priorities Act, where she will become the gatekeeper for all money flowing from the federal government to local provincial entities like cities, towns, and post-secondary. A lot of pushback from academics on that particular issue. They're afraid that now she will be then determining what research gets done in Alberta post-secondaries based on the federal funding. She can be the arbiter, the gatekeeper, and she can shut down research. What do you think of Bill 18 in particular when it comes to universities?
I think as a principle, Canada works best when everyone works together. And that's certainly the approach that the federal government has taken. Working with provinces like Alberta on important investments in developing natural resources and innovation and support for communities and various housing programs, but we've also not hesitated to work directly with great cities like Calgary and Edmonton on transit projects, on safe supply projects, on various range of initiatives that are making sense to fight homelessness, to support homeowners, to support childcare spaces, the kinds of things that are making a difference in people's lives. I don't think Canadians are well served when orders of government are fighting with each other. I think it works best as a country when we're looking to collaborate. We're looking to work together in ambitious ways to create housing, to support universities, to support citizens. The federal government has the job of making sure that every Canadian has a real and fair chance to succeed in all aspects of their life. And in many of those things, we're directly working with the provinces to deliver. In other cases, it makes sense for us to work with local partners, and we're going to continue trying to do that. Ultimately, the only people who will lose out on this will be Albertans themselves, as a provincial government applies an ideological lens to investments that are necessary for communities across the country.
Thank you. Next question.
Hi, Mary Brooke on Social Trends. Your budget 2024 includes a lift for OAS for seniors over age 75, and people have wondered for years why the age group of 65 to 74 also doesn't get that lift. And if there's an assumption that a lot of those people are working, that's kind of worrisome because, people slow down at that age, but the economy is requiring a lot of those people to work. And if in that case, would you consider a senior's older worker credit, on tax credit, to help out as people still work in that age?
No, thank you for the question. And obviously, investing in seniors is something we've done from the very, very beginning. And I'm happy to correct the assumption. It is a known fact that seniors incur more costs when they get older. We know that seniors over 75 have a harder challenge. Maybe their retirement nest egg is running out faster than they thought it would. Maybe extra medical costs or mobility challenges are bringing in extra costs in them. That's why we recognize that increasing OAS for seniors 75 and older was really, really important. And we're happy to move forward that to recognize those challenges. But there's lots more we're doing for seniors as well, whether it's expanding the New Horizons for Seniors program, whether it's making sure we're specifically investing in better housing opportunities for seniors and more partnerships to make sure that seniors can age in place or find quality homes that are the right size and support for them as they move forward into their next stages of life. One of the big things we're doing that's having a huge impact on seniors already is the 1.7 million seniors across the country who've signed up for free dental care. We know far too many seniors don't have access to dental insurance or dental care, and it's a cost that they simply can't add to their monthly expenses. Moving forward with a Canada Dental Care Plan is going to make a huge difference in the lives of seniors, and that will start rolling out services in the coming months to seniors 65 and up.
Thank you. Next question.
Hi, thank you. Pivoting here, Prime Minister, our allies have called for restraint, but the Israeli Prime Minister has said Israel will decide how to respond to attacks by Iran. What are you doing to urge the Netanyahu government not to escalate the conflict?
Well, first of all, we strongly condemn the absolutely irresponsible attack by Iran directly on Israel over the weekend. That is absolutely the wrong thing to see in the region. We need to move towards peace and stability in the region. We need de-escalation. We need not to escalate further, and that action by Iran had significant dangers of seeing far more escalation. So we actually gathered as G7 nations just yesterday as our foreign minister was there to speak with her counterparts, and all agreed that everything needs to be done to prevent further escalation in the region, to get back on a track towards supporting people in the region, making sure there's more humanitarian aid flowing into Gaza, make sure that there's a ceasefire in which Hamas lays down its arms, in which the hostages are released, and moving forward towards that two-state solution that is the only long-term solution for the region, for peace and stability, a peaceful, secure, democratic Israel living alongside a peaceful, secure, democratic Palestinian state. That is what Canada has always fought for. This is what we are working so closely with partners, allies around the world, but also partners in the region. That's what we're remaining focused on.
Thank you. Next question.
Good afternoon, Sydney Gold, Capital Daily. Hi, I frequently write about ecological issues in and around the Vancouver Island. Many of my constituents, not my constituents, many of the constituents here are really concerned about the TMX launch on July 1 and concerned about potential spills in the Juan de Fuca Strait and the Burrard Inlet. What additional oversight beyond C-48 in terms of just managing tonnage going through and additional tanker traffic through these waters can the federal government provide in terms of monitoring and oversight around the integrity of the tankers that are being used, because the tankers themselves don't originate in Canadian waters or jurisdictions?
We know that the world is still going to be reliant on fossil fuels for a number of years to come, and making sure that Canada gets the best possible returns on the fossil fuels we have, so we can be investing in the kinds of technologies and energy solutions that'll feed the net zero economy of the world in the future, that Canada will play a strong role in, is all part of our approach to building a stronger and more successful country for the future. We need to make sure that safety of our coastal communities, of our biodiversity and ecologically sensitive sites like the Salish Sea and the southern Vancouver Island areas is continuing to be top of mind. We will continue to step up in our monitoring and our ensuring that all regulations are complied with and that people are safe, even as we continue to respond to the needs of the world.
Thank you. Next question.
Mark Page, Black Press. Housing affordability is a major issue in the Victoria area. And does the plan, recently announced plan to unlock housing potential by using federal offices, defense lands, Canada Post lands, does any of that include any land in Greater Victoria? And will any of that be affordable rental housing?
We're in a housing crisis, and there is no one single solution to fix the housing crisis for everyone. That's why our government has put forward the most ambitious and comprehensive plan on responding to the housing crisis that Canada has ever seen. It involves things like, yes, direct investments in ending homelessness and ensuring affordable housing, including more affordable apartment rentals across the country. But it also uses things like the Housing Accelerator, where we signed a deal with Victoria to change the way zoning and density is done so that we can actually build more housing, not just in places where the federal government is a partner to invest, but all across the municipal territory, whether people want to build garden suites or bring in 4 units as of right into their lot. These are things that people can do to respond to the very real pressures out there. Another piece of it, as you mentioned, was the issue of public lands. We know there are public lands that are underutilized, owned by the federal government, also perhaps owned by municipal or provincial governments, but that they don't have the money to invest in. We are willing, as a federal government, to actually buy those lands so that the money becomes invested, and we will give them in long-term leases or sell them in long-term leases to developers to put specifically more affordable housing on them. Affordable apartment buildings, affordable units will be part of the plan for using public lands. I know people are worried that you're going to sell off public land to a developer who will then put up high-priced condos. The way the government's approach on this is to actually avoid that, to make sure that public lands are being used for public good in a long-term way. You can think of post office buildings that could handle an apartment building on top of them instead of just being a single floor building. You can think of military or Canadian Armed Forces lands where the armory that is 2 stories high could then have built on top of it more affordable housing in the heart of a community. There are many, many different things we can do with land that is underutilized in terms of having access to create density and opportunities in neighborhoods. This is what our housing plan is all about. It's focused on making sure that the increase in supply we're going to see over the coming years will allow young people to get into it and to see that, for example, the $2,000 they pay on rent every month gets counted towards their credit score so they can turn around to a bank a few years later and say, look, I'm a reliable investment, get me a mortgage. These are the kinds of things that we're trying to do to change the way people see the housing market in this country and the way they're able to get into it, even in places where there are significant challenges like Victoria.
Thank you. Next question.
Cindy Burnett at the Times-Colonist. If I can go back to decriminalization, you said there's been tweaks, there's been changes, you're reviewing it. Given, however, what we're seeing, the open drug use, the province's inability to amend that exemption, drug deaths are going up, what would it take the federal government to trigger either canceling that exemption, or are you looking to the province to ask for that? What would...
Well, we are working closely with the province. I think we all want this. Everyone wants the same thing. We want to see, better outcomes, fewer deaths, a decrease in crime. We want to see the kinds of things that reflect the needs of this public health crisis. We're working with BC. This is a challenging situation that requires innovative responses, and figuring it out as we're delivering these programs that are helping people is something we're going to do in partnership. It's not an adversarial position with BC, it's a partnership on trying to respond to this crisis that is harming far too many people and communities.
Thank you. Next question.
Hi, Mr. Prime Minister, Johnny Marcolin, Check News. Question from the newsroom, and it's about our little whale in Zavelis. So the tiny First Nation tribe, I'm going to give this a try, excuse me if I get it wrong, Ehaktasat, has been working vigorously to try and save this whale, expended hundreds of thousands of dollars, and are asking or have asked Ottawa to help them cover those costs. Will the government then reimburse the nation for their financial costs in this rescue?
I think we're all following this story attentively. It is heartbreaking, and we're all worried. So I've ensured that Department of Fisheries and Oceans has reached out to the community, and we're going to continue to engage with them.
Thank you. Last question.
Hi, Nathan MacArthur, CBC News. If we could get answers in English and French, please. The provinces have again written to you asking you to stop the overreach in the areas of their jurisdiction and stop attaching conditions to funding. Can you explain why you're treading into provincial responsibilities so much? Is it because you don't believe the provinces are doing the jobs?
On the contrary, we have worked tremendously constructively with provinces over the past few years to deliver things that really matter for Canadians. Take $10 a day childcare. We move forward with historic agreements first signed here at BC to invest in an area that obviously is something that the province has primary carriage over. But we recognize that bringing down childcare prices for people across BC, supporting early childhood educators with better wage grid, and creating more spaces was something the federal government needed to engage in. So we showed up with a lot of money to help BC move forward on childcare. This is something that is great for families in BC, it's great for getting more women into the workforce, and it's great for young people who are doing better when they get to grade 1. These kinds of things are exactly the kind of things where we need to be doing more of. Now, there are certain conservative provinces that have resisted or objected to us showing up with childcare money, but I can tell you, families that I've spoken to right across the country, including in conservative provinces that wouldn't have invested in childcare if it hadn't been for the federal government choosing to step up, are deeply grateful. At the same time as mortgage rates went up for many, many families because of interest rates, they were saving thousands of dollars a month because we cut childcare fees in half. Our focus as a government is on working with provinces to deliver for Canadians. But in areas like the housing crisis, there are certain provinces that are upset. Again, not BC, which actually led the way with the BC Builds program, which we've actually adopted and said, okay, any province that wants to do like BC and put $2 billion towards affordable homes with the BC Builds program, will match that $2 billion and make sure that even more gets done. That's the way the Federation should be working. But when I hear provinces upset because we're signing deals with big cities, putting money in the city's coffers so that they can increase density, so they can build more homes faster, invest in affordability, I know that's what needs to happen. And provinces that are not being ambitious on housing, well, people in their provinces still deserve to have solutions to the housing crisis, even if the province doesn't want to step up with the same level of ambition. So I am unabashed about saying I am ambitious to solve problems for Canadians right across the country. I am ambitious about investing in solutions to make sure our economy is fair for every generation. I'm going to work where I can in partnership with provinces that want to, like BC and others have, and places where they want to block the kinds of investments that are going to help Canadians. I'm just going to try and figure out ways to help Canadians directly as necessary. I'd always rather work with provinces, but if we have to, I will go around them and be there for Canadians because this economy deserves young Canadians getting the support they need.
En français?
Et en français, oui, merci. Une des réalités, c'est qu'on est en train de faire face à de grands défis à travers le pays. Et on choisit d'être là pour investir dans l'avenir, investir dans les jeunes. Et on le fait idéalement en partenariat avec les provinces. Ici en Colombie-Britannique, on a fait des investissements pour s'assurer qu'il y ait des places en garderie beaucoup moins chères et plus de places abordables. Au Québec, ils avaient déjà des places des garderies à 8 $ par jour. On a donc investi pour qu'ils puissent créer plus de places en garderie parce que les familles ont besoin de ça. Mais on va travailler main dans la main avec des provinces qui sont ambitieuses pour livrer pour leurs citoyens. Quand vient l'enjeu du logement, par exemple, on a investi dans un accélérateur pour le logement 900 millions de dollars au Québec pour accélérer le logement et Québec a choisi de doubler cet argent avec 1,8 milliard de dollars pour s'assurer qu'on construise plus de logements plus rapidement. Je suis toujours là pour travailler dans le respect des provinces et en partenariat, mais je ne fais aucune excuse d'être ambitieux, de vouloir aider les provinces et les citoyens dans les provinces. Et s'il y a des provinces qui décident de résister et de repousser compte de l'aide qu'on est en train de donner, mais on va toujours chercher à travailler avec les partenaires nécessaires pour livrer pour les Canadiens. Je serai toujours dans le respect de la Constitution, mais ma responsabilité première, c'est de s'assurer que tous les Canadiens ont un bel avenir.
Thank you,
Merci
Prime
beaucoup tout
Minister.
le monde. Thank you.
That concludes